a big part was just because I thought it was like insightful. And I want to share the insight. Like, I think whether it's offensive is like a matter of perspective. So I'll share the insight, and if it is offensive to someone, then I could understand that perspective. Uh, so yeah, I have been talking with someone about like um, how, or I guess it come up in conversation with this person how the way certain things are referred to has changed, right? Like how people used to say retarded, and then it changed to autistic, and then now you hear about more being on the spectrum, right? And that with this shift in language, it's also like a shift in the way this is thought about, right? Like kind of bringing in more compassion, maybe in a way, like being sensitive to what may be offensive to others, and then uh, also like with being on the spectrum, it kind of a spectrum. Everyone falls like within that one full extreme to the other full extreme. So like everyone's on the spectrum, right? It's just maybe at a certain point maybe what we used to call retarded meant like a certain point along that spectrum, maybe. Um, but then today I was thinking back about that and then thought like, what if it wasn't like a compassion thing? Or maybe what if it was just like a more literal thing of like everyone's on the spectrum and maybe like everyone is lightly autistic or something. Or, maybe some people are a little bit more than lightly autistic. Uh, but then, like, how would you act toward them if they were and you weren't? Like, let's say you were a very stable genius. I feel like you would be, like, nice to other people and like considerate towards their condition, right? Like you may realize that you have to like change the way you communicate with them to really get through because the way that they receive communications is a little bit different, right? And that like if you kind of don't recognize that they're lightly autistic, then like you would have more trouble interacting with them, right? And it's not like they can't do things and like, run their own lives independently, but it's like to really get through in a way that is like more understandable to them, you have to be compassionate and understand their condition and then like be familiar enough with how to change the way that you communicate so that really facilitate them hearing you, allow yourself to get through. And so I think that can be actually like an empowering belief to have if you take it that way. That like, I used to think like this relationship or that relationship could be improved or like something, that I would be impacting the stranger in a certain way or, my boss or whatever else, like, potential business connection. I felt like I might be coming off this way and that's just, what I was used to with other folks that I was more familiar with. But this new person that I'm dealing with has like a slight condition, and I have to change my approach. And sometimes, like, the more you can still change your approach, but like that person's condition is a little bit different than some other person's condition. And so just like the whole way of interacting with them, relating to them and everything else, you might approach differently. Like, yeah, maybe when you're out, you would, if you went up to someone and they reacted a certain way, you would just be like, oh, it's okay. I get it. They're like autistic. Like, if they're reacting negatively, you start a conversation, like, or just it's like, oh man, they have a slight condition. Don't be mad. Don't take offense to it. Just realize, like, with their condition, certain things would have had to be different, right? Like, maybe it's not about you at all. It's just about their condition, and because everyone's different, like, you wouldn't know their condition, you wouldn't know how they would react, but you certainly kind of wouldn't see yourself as doing the bad thing. You would see yourself as having like the best of intentions when you interacted with them. Like, um, yeah, yeah. So I thought it was funny and like an interesting perspective to think about. One where I'm like, what aspects of this can I take into kind of my life and then try and use, like, to be more compassionate and understanding, and like not take certain communication things personally or like in the wrong way, or like really judge in any sort of, I won't say judge in any sort of way, because I still have my own standards and things and ways I want to be, but just the idea of like a different way of looking at things.